Have you ever started, and stopped again because you just weren't sure, which direction to go? You weren't sure if you knew everything that you needed? Well, if that's you or you've experienced that, I think this episode will be for you because sometimes we need answers and we don't realize how close the answers really are. And if you're a person that wants answers and need answers, this episode is perfect for you. Hey folks, Sir Charles Carey. And instead of me just jumping in to tell you this or tell you that as it relates to, personal development, music, or whatever, I want to ask a question. I'm calling it the pivotal question. And as you know, pivot, just like in sports or almost with anything, pivot is a shift, a switch, a turn, a change. So I want to ask you a pivotal question, and the outcome I'm hoping will, in cartoons you see the light bulb over the top of your head. I'm hoping it will bring to light something that you either have not considered or something that you've been looking for and now you can consider a bit more easily. And the pivotal question is this: what is the thing that you talk about more than anything else, and when you talk about it, you light up inside? Now, I should have told you it's a two-part question, so I'll ask it again. What is the thing that you talk about more than anything else, and when you talk about it, you light up inside, and maybe even a physical smile comes to your face? Whatever that answer is, my opinion, you may have just met your purpose. And I know that sounds like some maybe, not feng shui, but some, some kind of a thing that's seemingly weird, maybe to some, spiritual, philosophical, and actually it may be. Hey folks, Sir Charles Carey here. Most people that are watching this content may not even be subscribers. Do me a huge favor and subscribe to our channel, share it and like it. All the things that most people are asking you to do. Now, if you really like what you're getting here, please go to our website. The link will be in the description so that we can give you something free. No obligation. It'll either be the 3 peak tips or a structured breakdown so that you can take advantage of it. And again, there's no obligation. As we continue to build the channel, look for new subscribers and look for the opportunity to pour into other people. We know there is massive value. I've been doing this for quite some time, and all I really want to do in my life is more of the same. Pour into others the way others have poured into me. I work with many people. I've studied from many of the greats, and now it's your turn to get the same opportunity. Thanks a lot. See you. Back to the conversation. But I've been saying this for quite some time when I do keynotes, when I do workshops, and I've even said it on several lives that I've done. And I think it's a real thing, and it doesn't matter who you are, what industry or profession that you seek or that you're currently in. It has been said, I've heard this tons and tons of times. You're told to go to school, get the good grades so you can get the good job, right? We've all heard that generation after generation after generation. Yet, even though we've heard that, it really has not added up for a multitude of people. So whatever the thing is that is supposed to be so, this is the smart path to take. Go to school, get the good grades, and now you get the good job. Well, if you're in a government town, you probably can get the good government job. If you're in an industry town, auto industry or whatever type of industry, electrical, you'll get those jobs. But even when you go to school for those things, a lot of us have not gotten that good job. Now, we may have gotten jobs, but not a job for what our degree or our certification is for. And there lies the difference. So when I say, what is the thing that you talk about more than anything else? And when you talk about it, you light up inside, that is to alarm you that maybe something is amiss. But an answer is required. And the answer is required because it's up to you to realize if you are on the path that's going to take you where you need to go, where you need to be, where you need to live and thrive. And I figure most people just simply are not, because there are so many people, and this is kind of like a separate topic, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. There's so many people that are not satisfied and simply not happy. They're not happy with the instructions or the directions that were given to them, and they're just lifing. They're just living life on life terms. They're not thriving. They're not happy about getting up to go to work. They're not necessarily happy about the business maybe that their family has had for the last few generations. They're just going through the motions, doing the things they, are taught to do or shown to do. And here's what I want to share with you. Give you a couple of examples because I want you to come up with that answer. And I want you to reach out and tell me what that answer is, because I would love the opportunity of knowing how this has impacted you, how it has helped you, how it has given you a moment or moments of clarity. Here's an example. Now, I've already asked the question, so understand that whatever the answer is, the thing that you think about and talk about more than anything else, and a smile comes to your face, right? If you have chosen something based on that question, it's a two-part question, understand that the answer, you may be divided. And the reason why you may be divided is because you realize that that answer, it really is twofold, meaning that it may lead you down two paths, possibly even three paths. And I want to give you some examples on what I mean, because the pivotal question, it's meant to be an eye-opener, a course corrector, if you will. So let's say you are, you want to write a book, right? An author can very easily be a teacher, right? An instructor of sorts, maybe even an editor, because a person that writes books, or has written a book, they probably have the wherewithal to do those other things. Now, of course, if it's your first book, that might not be your path because it's your very first book. But then again, maybe it is. You see, everyone has to do something first to know what's good for them or where they're supposed to be or how they're supposed to start. As the saying goes, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the very first step. So let's say you're an author again. Maybe you're a person that really knows an organized structure on how to teach, how to guide, how to instruct. Maybe you're an editor, you're a proofreader. There's several paths that being an author can provide. That's just one example. Let me give you another example. Let's say that you are an athlete, right? And as an athlete, whatever your sport is, you're good at it, you like it, you're passionate. But do you realize that there are a lot of athletes, people that started out being athletes, that they're simply not good, and they became coaches. So an athlete can be an athlete, or it can be a coach, or maybe even a personal trainer. See, these are things that people don't think about. And I'll give you yet a third example. A third example will be, let's say you're a musician, right? You like to play whatever. Maybe you're a singer. Maybe you play an instrument. Maybe you play multiple instruments. Maybe you chart music, right? So you can write out the music that you hear and that you create. Maybe you are a lyricist. You can write words and melodies. Maybe you are a music producer, right? So that one thing can lead you down multiple paths. See, this is where it gets a little murky for some, and they get frustrated and decide to do nothing because, well, which path am I supposed to go? Well, maybe, depending on you and who you are and how you are, maybe you start with the thing that's best for you, the direction or the path that's best for you. Once you've taken that direction, now, if you expired it or exhausted it, you can select one of the others. And depending on your work ethic, your personality, and your focus type, maybe you can juggle more than one thing at a time. I can't tell you what's going to work best for you. To thine own self be true. So you have to know yourself to know what works best for you. What I'm accomplishing or trying to accomplish is for you to realize that if you're not in the space that you're supposed to be in or that you thrive in, perhaps you need to consider where you really should be, what your true gift is, where you really serve best. So understand, and now here's a general example based on the three examples, so yet a fourth example, right? Some people need more, some people don't. Some people learn by listening, some people learn by examples, some are hands-on, right? Everyone learns differently. So let me just give you this example. Let's say you want to play for a team. I'll take a sports analogy. And the coach says the roster is full. Normally I elaborate on this a little bit longer, but I'm going to try to cut to the chase. The coach says the roster's full. I don't need any more players. So what do? Now, when I do keynotes and workshops, people say things like, I'll try for another team. Good, smart. That's a good approach, good mindset. And someone said to me, I'll buy my own team. I said, well, it's going to cost a certain amount of money, and there's a process to starting and owning your own team, leagues and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so if you go to the coach, the roster's full, and you don't seem to have another option that's realistic that you can pursue, I've suggested this. What's wrong with being a coach's assistant? What's wrong with being an assistant coach? What's wrong with being a mascot? What's wrong with being a sports journalist? What's wrong with, doing anything that you can do? Be a water boy, right? Water girl, whatever it may be. That keeps you in the arena. It keeps you in the field or the area that you are interested in. And then perhaps when the opportunity works out or the opportunity presents itself, now you may have another stab at joining the team. See, people don't think about that. You have to look at your options fairly and realistically. Because, see, if you considered one of those other options simply because you could not make the roster, here's the biggest advantage that most people don't think about. Because everybody wants to be a star, right? Everybody wants to be on the field or on the court. And that makes sense to a large degree. But here's the difference. If you do one of the other things and you're not on the court or the field, you see the game from a different perspective. You have a broader sense of what you're looking for and what you're looking at. You understand schemes and strategy a lot different. You see, when you're on the court, you have to follow through with the strategy. But when you're not on the court, you can outline how the strategy may work best. So that when your opportunity to get on the court or the field, when that comes, now you have a different viewpoint. You have a different perspective. So here's again, what is the thing that you talk about more than anything else? And when you talk about it, you light up inside and a smile comes to your face. Whatever that thing is, my friend, you may have just met your purpose. Call me, text me, go to my website, Let me know what your answer is, because I really want to know if you gain value from this talk. Radiate the Brain.